Okay, so Trump tweets are the best, by which I mean the worst, but for that reason, they are entertaining, at the least, let's say. And I was wondering how he was going to respond to Canada adding 25% onto the energy tariff, onto the energy, no, 25% tariff onto the energy that they export from Ontario, is it? Yeah, Ontario says it will slap a 25% surcharge on US bound electricity. Blah, 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 blah. So Ontario leader Doug Ford confirmed the move in a news conference on Monday, saying it will increase costs for affected US customers by an average of $100 per month. Welcome to the energy increase. I mean, we've been dealing with that for the last 3 years, something crazy. Or longer than that, actually. Roughly 1.5 million American homes and businesses in the northern border of the states of New York, Michigan, and Minnesota will be impacted. Ford said the surcharge on energy will remain until the threat of tariffs from the US is gone for good. So yeah, tariffs are going on. Wait a minute. The 25% surcharge is going on to the energy until the threats of tariffs are gone from Donald Trump. It's not just about, okay, you've taken them off, we'll take the surcharge off. You're putting them back on, let's put the surcharge. Basically, Ontario, or Doug Ford here, has said that regardless of whether you're flip-flopping between tariffs or not tariffs, you're not going to blackmail us into doing what you want via that, but via the threat of tariffs. So we're just going to slap it on there, and until the threat, the flip-flopping of tariffs is gone, it's not coming off. Okay? Fair enough. Oh, and he did say as well, I will not hesitate to increase this charge if necessary. If the US escalates, I will not hesitate to shut off electricity completely. Interesting. I mean, yeah, it's retaliatory. It's a retaliatory surcharge, but I think where we're going to see now in Trump's tweet, he's getting confused because for him, he's like, I'm flip-flopping. Why aren't you flip-flopping? When I say tariffs, then you retaliate. And when I say it's pulled back, then you pull back. And that's how I control you. Why won't you be controlled, Canada /Ontario /Doug Ford? Okay, let me have a look at the tweet. Okay, so they are so sprawling. I'm pretty sure once upon a time you only had a certain amount of characters on Twitter and X. I don't know, that's literally how long it's been since I had any idea of what was going on there. He just writes these absolute paragraphs, right? Okay, so despite the fact that Canada is charging the USA from 250% to 390% tariffs on many of our farm products, do you know what? Before I fact check the whole thing, let me just read the whole thing, okay? Ontario, so despite the 250 to 390% tariffs on many of our farm products, Ontario just announced a 25% surcharge on electricity in quote marks of all things. Read the whole thing, then analyze. And you're oh my gosh, he used the read the tweet. And you're not even allowed to do that. Because our tariffs are reciprocal, we'll just get it all back on April 2nd. Canada is a tariff abuser. Read the tweet. And always has been. But the United States is not going to be subsidizing Canada any longer. We don't need your cars. We don't need your lumber. We don't need your energy. And very soon you will find that out. Make America great again. Oh my gosh, there's so much to break down here. Should we just start at the tippy top, right? Okay, so despite the fact that Canada is charging the USA from 250 to 390% tariffs. Yeah, I mean, here you can see it's got a massive X through it because it's been debunked, obviously. There's a whole bunch here as well. This one's on Instagram. Oh my gosh, completely forgot. Okay, Canada introduced reciprocal tariffs after Donald Trump imposed 25% duty on Canadian products, but social media posts can claim exorbitant Canadian fees were already applied to American goods. This is misleading. The United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, the USMCA, allows most goods to cross the border duty-free, with steep levies on dairy, chicken, and egg imports kicking in only if quotas designed to manage supply are exceeded. That's okay. So a user goes on to display a list of fees Canada supposedly imposes on American products, including tariffs exceeding 200% for dairy, poultry, sugar, peanut butter. Variations of the list, sometimes referencing products such as cars, television. Yeah, the list changes all the time, doesn't it? The list changes all of the time. But the social media posts are looking at prior rates, and Ottawa-based international trade expert Peter Clark said these were shared for 2025 by the Canada Border Service Agencies, which clarifies many products as tariff-free if they are coming from the United States. Yes, so those tariffs stand, but they stand for other countries. They do not stand for America. Like, so maybe milk and poultry exports or imports or whatever from the UK would be like 237% or whatever it is. Okay, so that's point number one. Okay, charging from 250% to 390% on many of our farm products. No, they are not. But hey, it looks like we found maybe where he was getting that information from. What's next? Ontario just announced a 25% surcharge on electricity of all things. Hey, he got that part right. That part is correct. Well done. You can have a cookie. Electricity, I love being in the quote marks. Why in quote marks? As if like electricity is not a thing? Like you can't tariff electricity or something like that? Does he thinks that it's like water? Well, you can't tax water or something. Actually, in America, yeah, you guys kind of do that. Can you stop, please? We do that here as well. But it's like almost like a thing of like you can't tax oxygen. You can't make people pay for oxygen. No, they still do that as well. Do you know what, mate? Yeah. People will buy anything. People will pay for it, but electricity of all things, like that is, like it needs to be made, it needs to be sort of created, generated, sent in the right directions, etc., etc. So, and then he follows it up with, and you're not even allowed to do that. Just look at the yaw. Embrace the yaw. That is the President of the United States of America. And I've got to stop finding myself so confused about how his base also struggles with correct grammar, punctuation, spelling. Is it any wonder that his base writes in exactly the same way? I love the uneducated. Takes one to know one. All right? And also, yes, they are allowed to do that. Aside from the grammatical error, which I just find very funny. Yes, they are allowed to do that. Do you know what I love? This is one of those Veruca Salt tantrum moments again.
They don't want to find it. They're jealous of me.
They're already being so mean to us, and they're already doing all of these. Ontario just announced a 25% surcharge on electricity. That sounds vaguely eloquent, right? Like he knows what he's talking about. And then finishes it off. You're not even allowed to do that.
You're a rotten mean father. You'll never give me anything I want.
I think it's the way that you're not even allowed. It just sounds like a child, do you know what I mean? Like an older sibling comes into the bedroom and takes a toy or a console or something like that. You're not even allowed to do that. A kid at school, in a classroom. Can you imagine if that's what he was like in war? Since this is a trade war, it's a trade war. Can you imagine if that was what he was like in an actual war, right? Like, okay, we're going to come and do this thing over here. No, we're not. We're going to pull back. Okay, we're just going to threaten you with this. Okay, now we're going to pull back. And then the other one just comes in and is like, you know what? Screw you. We're just going to get the crap on with it. No! You're not allowed to do that. I'm supposed to be the one blackmailing and coercing you into doing what I want, and you're meant to just do it. Will you follow the decorum of the fact that I am an asshole? Just do it.